Okay, today we're working on a little 10-minute hip mobility routine called the hip spinner from Dr. Kelly Starrett. You can check him out at the Ready State. Great little routine. So we are going to start in a lunge with our right foot forward, left foot back. You could have yoga blocks under your hands or a chair or something if it's a little too far to get to the ground. You could also put some padding under that back knee if you need. I'm going to spend some time just making some little circles with our front knee. So just kind of exploring that hip socket as if it's a mortar and pestle. Just kind of making circles, moving around. Very nice. Just kind of finding those little edges of tension, touching them and moving away. So we're not going super deep. We're just kind of mobilizing, exploring the little spots. Now bringing your right hand onto right thigh, a little look over the right shoulder, really sink into the left shoulder. So I'm making a little sling from my back knee all the way up into my armpit. Deep breath or two here. Very nice. And then turning back to center. Walking your hands over to the left side. So I'm creating space in between my front knee and my hands. And I'm breathing into the right side of my torso. So inhaling into those side ribs, making a little bit more space. Foot stays connected to the ground. We'll have another couple of breaths here. Then walking back to center, hands on the floor, tucking back toes. I'm going to inhale and lift my back knees, squeeze my glute muscles and my thighs nice and strong, and then exhale, lower my back knee toward the floor, but keep those glute muscles on. And it doesn't have to touch even. We can lift up again, squeeze glutes and thighs. Inhale here and exhale, lower that back hip toward the floor. So we're lengthening these muscles under tension. Inhale again, squeeze at the top. Exhale, left hip drops toward the floor as we keep that squeeze. Nice. And then relax, release. Wiggle your front foot in between your hands. And we're going to start just walking our hands back. Keep the toes on the floor for now. We can link our breath. So inhale on the way back. Exhale on the way forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Now lifting the foot. Inhale back. Exhale forward. We don't have to go to extremes as we just continue moving here. We're just touching on these edges of range and pulling back out. So it's a great little daily routine just to tick those minimum movement requirements. Almost like you're brushing all of your teeth. We're touching a bunch of important spots. So back into that deep lunge, wiggle your foot out to the side again. This time, option to bring your elbows to the floor or bend your arms a little bit. And we're going to move our hands over to the left side again. So I've got my left elbow down, my right hand reaching away. I've even got the option to come onto the outside edge of my foot and just let that knee drop out to the side and back in. So a bit of a deep position here, but we don't have to be pushing at all. We just want to find the edge, breathe into the edge, and just see what happens. Last big breath here. Good. Final movement on this side. Walk hands back to the middle. Lift back knee. Inhale, reach right arm up to the ceiling. Really open your chest and look up. Exhale, sweep your hand through to your back knee. Inhale, open up. Exhale, sweep. And we'll have 3 more of those. Inhale, open. Exhale, sweep. Inhale, open. Sweep. Last one. And then hands to the floor, knees to the floor. Hands are shoulder width apart. We're just going to lift up and have a little downward dog here. So I'm pushing the floor away with my shoulders
And I can walk my heels on the spot here for just a moment or two. So I'm getting that nice loaded overhead position that our shoulders really need to maintain their functionality. This and, well, lots of other things. Let's step left foot forward into lunge now. So where we started, but on the other side. And I'm making those little circles in the hip socket. Mortar and pestle vibes. You could think of making some synovial pesto in that hip socket. And I'm exploring all the little edges. They don't have to be complete circles. You can poke and point out in all different directions, just seeing what's there. It's a great daily practice again, just to see how our movement in the previous day is affecting our movement on this day. So maybe I went for a big run yesterday, or I spent a whole lot of time sitting in a car. The hip spin up's going to tell you what you did, tell you what you need to spend a bit more time on. So now left hand to left thigh, looking over the left shoulder, sinking into right side. So my right shoulder's riding up into my ear. I've got a nice line from my back hip all the way up to my right armpit. And then I come back to center with my hands and then walk over to the right side. Finding length in that right side, breathing into, finding length in my left side more, breathing into those left side ribs. But also a little on the right, so I'm not crimping on that right side. I'm still finding a bit of space. One more big breath here. So while it's a hip routine, it's also a whole body routine. Your pelvis is connected to your entire body through lines of connective tissue and muscle. So our lifts now, lifting back knee, squeeze glutes and thighs. On exhale, just lower that back hip toward the floor, but keep those glutes and thighs active. Nice. Inhale, lift up. Squeeze. Exhale, lower down. Nice. Again, once more, inhale, lift and squeeze at the top. Exhale, lower that right hip toward the floor, but keep everything active. Excellent. And bring that knee down. Wiggle your foot to the middle. And we come into our walk backs. Inhaling on the way back, toes are on the floor, pointing the foot. Exhale forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Then I'm going to lift the front of the foot, get a little bit more into calf and hamstring. Flossing a little my sciatic nerve. I'm looking up as my hips go back, looking down as my hips go forward. Keeping those breaths, we'll go one more. Nice. And forward into that lunge position again. Left foot comes wide. Option to bring elbows down to the floor. Or maybe they come down to a block, or maybe we just bend our arms a little. Doesn't have to be huge. Left hand reaches away, and I'm finding that space all up my left side body. Also a little space in the right. Deep breaths here. And letting my left knee fall out to the side. I'm coming onto the outside edge of the foot, just playing with external rotation in the hip. So we're not going full pigeon pose, but definitely can get a nice amount of movement, build a little bit of range here. Last couple of breaths. Very nice. Walk hands back to center. Final movement on this side is going to be lifting that back knee. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. Exhale, sweep it to thigh. Inhale, sky. Exhale, thigh. 3 more of those. Big expansive breaths. So we're breathing into our belly and our rib cage, creating a bit of space with this movement as well. Whole body mobility. Finishing up, bringing hands to the floor, knees to the floor, lifting up into downward dog and lengthening one heel at a time as you push the mat away with your shoulders. And then final little movement here, if we have the space, coming into a bit of a squat with your heels off the floor.
Only if this works for your feet. My hands are on the outside of my knees on the floor. I'm just going to cross one knee across my body to the floor, and then the other side. And we'll do just a couple on each side, really getting into that big toe. Now maybe we can't touch all the way to the floor. That's totally fine. We can do just halfway across or a little bit. Just finding the appropriate loads for your toes. You don't have to overdo it. Nice. And then lastly, sitting back on our toes, on our heels, toes are tucked under, and we're just going to lift one knee at a time and stretch into the top part of the ankle, nice and gentle. Good. And then, well, if that's all you can get done in a day, that's a good start to the day. Ticking a few boxes, getting our bodies ready to move more, move often, and move well. Take care.